Welcome to STEEPCAST, episode 48. Whoa! Who is that? What? Was that Kerr? It's episode 48.
Snowboards been waxed and the chocolate is hot. STEEPCAST reporting to you live from the top of Mount Blanc. Snow missed me, making you miss me. Cause I'm hucking it up 12, I'll throw it into a misty.
That was Kerr you just saw fly by. It's time for another Kerrcast. So the background beats, the videos, and the topics mostly come from Kerr.
Thank you so much, Kerr, for doing all of the heavy lifting this week. I'm sure Mitch is relieved. We need to talk about devblog number 6 really quick here before we get started with the rest of the day. Nate Hotshot brought to our attention that all of the content that was included in devblog number 6 was also featured in an earlier post by Ubisoft about the game.
Yeah, Ubisoft did an article back in October, just at the end of the month, that talked about all of their games on the next gen. So talking about that Ubisoft Connect, and then talking about game-specific items. And the dev blog, which came out about a month after, was pretty identical. I think it was word for word. So maybe they just wanted all of that information to be next to all of the new information they're bringing with these dev blogs, but just something that was pointed out to us.
Yeah, and this is the Steep News section, so we're not going to let our feelings take over like they did in the main topic last week, but that just stings a little more. On top of everything else, that stings just 1% more. Oh well, let's just hope that the fact that they are copying and pasting information that is already available to the public means that the next devblog is going to be something incredible. We'll all hold our breath. Next week, we are expecting devblog number 7 to drop. As always, you can stay tuned to our channel as Mitch will be releasing a devblog number 7 recap the minute it goes live out on the interwebs. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you're subscribed so you can get all of the notifications when those go live. And now that news is over, I guess there's just one more thing to do. It's time for the Reddit Roundup!
Our first post this week comes from Calasis, and he goes with a small Cork 3 and then hits a massive jump, pulling a second Cork 3 in a row, but through that massive rock face and sticks the landing. And you know it, he learned this trick, the Cork 360, from just Steepit's video.
The one and only. Next up, talk about the one and only, we have the legend Mekish working on a new share dare, and he came across this hole. It's about 10 seconds into the video, so it's going to take some seconds. We should be seeing it right about now. Oh man, if that isn't a tiny little squirrel hole, I don't know what is. No bigger than a womp rat. The legend Mekish will find it on the mountain.
And the third post comes from the Red Racer, and it is yet another wingsuit post, so very topical for this episode. He's new, but is saying wingsuit is one of his favorite sports to learn, and you can see him crushing this little route that he's come up with through all of the rocks. And they say wingsuiting, one of the most rewarding just because of how difficult and technical. I am not great at wingsuit, but I appreciate the hard work and dedication that goes into nailing some of these runs.
Next up, we have a post from the Silky Milky TM. Coming off this huge powder bank and just dragging it till the cows come home. Well done. That was definitely an involuntary drag, but you gotta love those mystery finds even more than the intentionals.
And finally, we have a picture from Jack Oh Boy, and he thought this was a really cool shot, and I agree with that. He is grabbing the snowboard right next to a cross. I don't know if I've seen this spot on the mountain before. I imagine it's close to some of those churches in one of the villages, but I just love the cloud of powder that he's left on the ground as he is tapping that cross with the tail of his board.
Just a little puff of powder for Jesus. Thank you so much to everyone who submitted their beautiful clips and screenshots over on the Steep Reddit. If you're not subscribed, if you're not following, I should say, r/steep. You have to get over there. That is where the best and brightest content creators on this side of Point Percé are throwing down the heat.
Since this is a KerrCast, the topic was presented to us by Kerr, and he asked us to talk about Riders Republic and if we'll see community teams. So thanks to a new player limit in a single lobby where you'll see up to 50 riders on the next gen and over 20 riders on the current gen, and also the potential improvement of the competitive side of the game and the new trick system that we talked about in one of the earlier dev blogs, players will be developing unique playstyles and sets of tricks. So will we see them forming various teams with their own way and their own style of playing? So I think what he's getting at is, with the different tricks that you see, are we going to see riders kind of branch off into their own groups? So will we see like the Steezy squad who only tries to pull off the sickest tweaks? Are we going to see like the big air boys who are just crushing massive jumps and throwing triple corks, quadruple corks, so on? And we'll talk about his wingsuit gang too. Will we see a community developing just around that?
Yeah, I really like this question, and it goes off of something that we talked about way back early on in STEEPCAST, with the fact that we want to see more community involvement in Riders Republic. So something like a Nick or Mitch backpack or helmet, or even just a sticker or a patch that you can put on your rider. Something to denote which Steep or Riders Republic faction you belong to. Kerr took it one step further, and it makes sense. You know, the game is so centered around customizing your player down to the tricks that they can do on the machines that you build. So the game might not be as custom per se as like colors and liveries and different tires that you can pick, but you are going to be able to tailor make your rider into whatever you want them to be. It makes total sense to have these communities name them and give them certain clothing items or a patch in the game so they can signify what kind of rider they are.
And I feel like this ties in nicely with Riders Republic. It is a much more community-based game, it seems, at least with the multiplayer, than they were going for with Steep, where you could do cool things and share some stuff with your friends, but it was more about exploring the mountain. And I think with all of these sports, the new trick styles, you're going to see those groups form. Reminds me of playing the early days of Grand Theft Auto Online, where you could find all of these little cool communities. They did have a clan tag system, but I mean, you have people who are just there for drag races, who are just there for car meetups each week, designing a new car, showing up, showing it off. And we even were in that one group where it was like a GTA role-playing thing. So we were the transportation group. All we cared about was flying people around. Then we had a group that was based around the mafia. We had a group that was based around businessmen. And it was just really cool to see how each group interacted, both in the game and then in different community chats online.
So the main difference here, and correct me if I'm wrong, I might be perceiving this a little differently. When we did that in GTA, that was all on our own. That wasn't something that Rockstar put into the game. We met up with a bunch of people on Discord or Reddit, whatever it was, and we came up with this. It was basically a D&D. It was a role-playing game, exactly like you said, where we came up with a storyline ourselves, and we put it into action online in GTA. I think definitely stuff like that will happen in Riders Republic that won't be sanctioned by the game. People will find their factions. People will find the riders that they like. I mean, especially, and we talked about it a while ago, is in one of the dev blogs, that the huge 50-person races are going to be sparsely populated on the map. So you're not going to be able to do those 24/7 for your entire career in the game. You're going to have to wait until something calls you up to that spot to start a ride. So if we start to see more trick races or more downhill endurance races, you're going to start to see different factions of people clinging to one sport or another, one event or another. And I just think that it would be really nice for the game to take the extra step and work that into the game and giving them different, custom clothing or a flag or bandana, something so that they can signify when they're not on the mountain playing that specific sport. But I think definitely, you are going to start to see more factions. It's not just going to be sleds, not just going to be wingsuits. Every single specific sport is going to have its own community of riders.
And then you might also see, even within that sport, like the skiers, you're going to see a division between the freestyle skiers and the downhill skiers. And then after that, you're going to see even smaller groups too. I cannot remember the names. I've been trying to look them up. I watched it in a video. I was watching the history of X Games or the world of X Games. It was a throwback to one of the first competitions talking about, I believe it was the skateboard event. But you had some young kids that were there. They were like the next generation. And then you had the guys who had been skateboarding for a while, who kind of wore the punk outfits. And in the X Games, they were actually advertising it as some sort of clan war or a gang war, where you had like the young boys versus the metalheads, and they all dressed kind of based on their team. So it would be really cool to see that in our events and Check My Steez and other events that are run. If you can tell, there is like the metalheads and they're competing and they're really good at this kind of trick. They wear this kind of outfit. They have this clan tag. You're going to see more and more battles, which I think would be awesome for the game. Yeah, only in Riders Republic, it's going to be like the old school Steep players pulling off Cork 360s versus the new riders pulling off some, to be honest, I haven't learned bike tricks yet. That's coming, I promise. But, it's the first thing that we might see in the game that resembles something like this is going to be all of the vets from Steep coming onto the mountain, maybe having a bit of an edge because some things may feel similar to what they used to in Steep. And then you're going to have the newbies who are just jumping on board right now at the release because this is something that piqued their interest. So I think you're going to see factions like that. I think it might be a little more difficult to get them in the game, like you said, with skateboarders. You had the old guys, you had the punks, and you had the new guys, the next gens, but they were all doing the same thing. So it's going to be difficult to, if we get snowboard slope style riders, it's going to be kind of hard to split that group up into two. I don't know. There just seems to be so much that the game is offering that to pick one specific sport or discipline, that's going to be where you stick. I don't think it's going to go any deeper than that. I think it's going to be the downhill snowboarders or the exploring snowboarders versus the snowpark snowboarders. I don't think the snowpark snowboarders are going to have smaller clans or gang wars or whatever. I could be wrong, but that's just what I think. Well, it'll be fun to see, and anyone who's played Steep, like you said, will have that bit of an advantage, that early jump, because you already got some friends in the game. You might be able to start a group and already bring in some people. So once Riders Republic comes out, you can just start the recruiting process. Now, one of them has already kind of started up, and we will talk a little bit about Wingsuit Gang. Oh, no. That has just started growing here in the past week or so, I would say. Kerr started this, I believe. He's in there, Bone Crusher's in there, so the usual suspects. But the idea is that they are a group called Wingsuit Gang. Anytime someone references that, you know who to look for. But they have recruiting requirements. You can jump in their Discord and talk with them right now. But to be an official member, you have to meet at least one of these three requirements. You either have to have a wingsuit world record, you have to get 300,000 on any wingsuit challenge, except for one of them. I think it's easy to get 300k. Or you can complete the 11 rings challenge, which we saw in STEEPCAST last week. 2 different people were entering. And then once you have that, you can submit your little application, just show your video proof. And the more challenges you complete, the better chance you have to be accepted. But once you do that, you are in Wingsuit Gang, and you can rep that proudly. Do you think they'll let me in just because, we're all friends? Well, let's see. Do you hold a world record? No, not that I know of. Have you gotten 300k on any challenge? No, definitely not. Or completed the 11 rings challenge? The what? Exactly. I actually, when I was streaming Steep the other day, I was trying to do some of these just for fun. Came nowhere close to 300k, and I got the first 3 of 11 rings on the 11 rings challenge, and I am gonna make it nowhere close. So I don't know if we'll be official members of Wingsuit Gang.
That's all right. We're just gonna have to come up with something cooler with a cooler name. It shouldn't be too hard to do. Wingsuit Gang. Who do they think they are?
Watch yourself. You do not know who you're messing with. So this might be one of the first of many groups we see in Riders Republic. Wingsuit, of course, is in there. We all know we were going to be watching out for Kerr, but now we're going to have to watch out for Kerr and his motley crew in the game. They're all going to be repping Wingsuit Gang. They might be hunting you down on the mountain if you anger them, so watch out.
Oh my god, yeah, I didn't even think about that. 50 people can be in the map at once? Jeez, that 25 wingsuiters from Wingsuit Gang could just be carpet bombing your runs, just absolutely messing you up if you try to mess with them. Okay, yeah, respect Wingsuit Gang. I will admire from a distance.
Well, I know if Nick is to start his own little group, a community group in Riders Republic, it is all going to be based around those shiny pants we saw in the trailer, and he is just going to call it the Shiny Pants Gang or something along that lines, where everyone has to wear the shiny pants, and that's it. That's the only requirement.
Yeah, watch out. We won't blind you with incredible tricks or speed or cunning or endurance or dexterity or any of that. We're just going to blind you with our shiny pants. Better keep your ambiance set to night because high noon, that's when we strike the hardest. Once again, before we wrap today's episode up, just want to give another shout out to Kerr Wingsuit Man. He goes through the effort of putting an entire STEEPCAST template together for us, and he doesn't have to do that. We don't ask him to do that, but just the fact that he's putting the effort in to give us topics to keep this thing alive is, I don't have any other words for it. It's incredible. So thank you so much for your dedication. Thank you so much for believing in us. Kerr, you are one of the real ones. Wingsuit Gang for life, even though I, can't be in it. This week, the weekly challenge turns to the extreme. We have yet again a ton of submissions, incredible submissions, I might add, coming from the steepest legend, Flair, a newcomer, Yami Vulgaris, welcome to the family, sir, Lucas, and Lucas. So take it away, boys. This one is one for the scrapbook.
Some great pictures considering we gave you a pretty broad topic called extreme. Now, I wanted to point out a couple of these photos. Nick, have you seen them yet?
No. In typical me fashion, I have not prepared one bit before I sat down to record today's episode. So no, I'm seeing them all fresh for the first time right now.
All right, so I'll know you'll love this. And I think this might be what we go with for the last weekly challenge topic that we come up with. Some of you, mainly Flair and then Yami Vulgaris, did some filtering on their pictures and turned them into legit paintings. And I know you said you always want to hang a Steep photo up on your wall. I think if we have them do some effects, you're going to find one because I'm ready to purchase one and hang it up right away. So I'll show you the first one that came from Flair with the post-processing.
Oh my god. Oh, the sky looks like wood. I mean, that is wood grain. Holy crap. Oh, that's gorgeous. He kept the mountain perfectly fine, but that sky, it gives you so much to look at. Honestly, it looks like something you would look at when you're like tripping acid or something. I'm just getting ready for this to be a GIF and for it to be moving and undulating. But geez, oh man, this looks It really looks like you just took your skis into No Man's Sky and had a field day. This is incredible, dude.
Yeah, he was saying this one came a little bit from an accident too, because he was, messing with some of the colors in the editing, but since the picture quality, I think, that the screenshot was a little weird, that's kind of what it did to the blues. Sometimes it compresses the image, so whenever he spiked up a certain feature, it just naturally gave those lines, so he played into it even more. And it does give it that weird watercolor type feeling behind the skier, so it really makes him pop in the sky. And the other one from Yemi Vulgaris was another kind of example where he put some sort of painting feature over top.
Oh.
And this just looks like one of those old, Japanese style watercolors, the waves, maybe the rough canvas behind it. So this would be awesome to turn into a canvas painting.
Yeah. Oh, I can't get over that. Just something as simple as putting a texture over it. I don't even think he desaturated it at all. Like you said, it looks like someone took a fine-tooth paintbrush and went through and meticulously crafted this work. If I put this on a wall, people would think that it was just a painting. They wouldn't know that this was a capture from a video game. This one really is taking my breath away. I want this now.
I agree. This is something that you could see hanging up in a ski lodge, and you would not question if it's from a video game or not, because it looks, just like someone painted this image. So it's really nice that you can take something that is from a video game, so it might look a little bit fake, but then just add some filtering on top of it, and then you think it's a piece of art instead.
Wait, Mitch.
What?
Could we do that?
Do what?
Could we go to a ski lodge with a ton of artwork from our community and put it up throughout an entire ski lodge and see how long it takes for people to realize? I mean, not even that it's from a video game, just for people to be like, huh, that's not a real picture, and keep going.
I am absolutely down for that idea. I've seen that before. There's a YouTube video that they made a fake McDonald's picture, like the one that they have, of the McDonald's worker, and he made it of himself and hung it up on the wall. And also our friend back in high school, we had a wall of fame outside the cafeteria in our high school. All of the people who graduated became pro golfers or went into space. And he just, put himself in a picture frame and hung it up there. And it was there for years. No one noticed it.
Yeah, we have to do something like that. Just find a random ski lodge, Seven Springs. We are coming for you. And just, take down some of their artwork. Keep it in a safe spot, but just put up some steep art. I think that would be a hilarious video. Hey, it's content. We can do it. It's content. It's fine. We're going to get arrested. All right, what do you have next?
Well, the topic for next week is the longest grind, which was inspired, of course, by Tom Wallish's record-breaking grind, which we posted the video in last week's STEEPCAST. And then the following week, I think we have to do it. It's going to be aired during STEEPCAST 50. So let's do a topic of painting or artwork. I don't know what to call it, but do what these guys did. Just throw some filters on there. Make a steep photo a piece of art.
It is a classy game filled with a bunch of classy gamers. So what better way to send off this masterpiece of a skiing, snowboarding, extreme winter sports game than transforming it into a gorgeous work of art? However you see fit, make it look as elegant as possible. I think that's a pretty good way to end STEEPCAST, episode 50, making it as elegant as you can. And, we need a way to finish off episode 48, so what better than some Q&A?
You already know the first question of this week comes from Kerr himself, and he asked, out of us two, who would be the hero and who would be the villain?
Oh, me, pick me, I would be the villain.
And why would you be the villain?
I don't know. I think if we are falling on a chaotic chart, I am more lawful evil than you are. I think you're more neutral. I don't know. That's all I have to go off. I think I am a little wilder with what I do and what I'm just like, we're walking through town and someone's like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if someone did that? And I'm already over there doing it. I just think I have less hesitation to do something kind of insane. I would be like a Steve-O or a Bam Margera without all of the drugs.
Yeah, you would be that villain that just does stuff and never really has a plan for it. You're just out there like, oh, I'm now doing this thing, causing ruckus.
Hey, some of the best things come to you when you are least expecting it. And sometimes you have to be willing to put yourself into a weird situation to get an awesome turnout.
And Kurt kind of followed it up with that. He said Super Mitch and Evil Dr. Nick.
Oh my God, I didn't even see that. He totally nailed it. Yeah, absolutely. Evil Dr. Nick. Write it up. That's my new Discord nickname.
And the next one comes from Steepest Legend asking, would we rather eat lasagna or spaghetti bolognese? Is there a difference? I mean, I just eat pasta. Any sort of pasta in front of me. I'm just going to scarf it down.
Nah. Take a seat, sir. Lasagna is crafted with love, hard work, lot of time in the oven. You got to put it in there. Everything has to be perfect. You can't pre-cook the noodles. You have to put it in there without being able to test how firm the noodles are, and it has to come out. A lot goes into a lasagna, and I think traditionally a lasagna can be sweeter than a spaghetti bolognese. The bolognese is a little tartar. I don't know what is in it, but it has more of like an acidic bite. I'm a lasagna guy all day. It's like solid soup and pasta and cheese and sauce. You can't beat a solid soup made out of pasta and cheese and sauce. Lasagna all day.
I don't know. If I had to pick, I would maybe go with spaghetti bolognese just because I'm not the biggest ricotta fan, and that's typically found in lasagna. I'm way more into the more meat, the more sauce, and the less of everything else.
You're not into ricotta cheese, dude? At like 11:30 every night, I sneak into my fridge when my girlfriend's asleep, and I grab that ricotta cheese, and I grab a big ol' honkin' spoonful of it, sprinkle just a little bit of sugar, sprinkle just a little bit of salt on there, and shove that thing in my food door. Ricotta cheese is one of the best. Are we even friends? Who is this man? Do I even know this so-called Super Mitch? Apparently not.
All right, we have to settle down because we got to solve another debate. And Steepest Legend also asked, who has the best profile picture in our Discord server?
Ooh. Nah, well, you know what? I'm gonna play this one safe. I think the best profile pictures on the Nick and Mitch Discord server would have to go to Nick and Mitch.
Oh, of course I'm going to agree with that because we designed those pictures. Outside of that, there's quite a lot of good ones. Stefan's is iconic just because it's the skull and he changes it up with the seasons. Nate's got the penguin. I think perhaps the one that always brings a smile to my face, though, is the hamster that's on FaceTime. So it's just like the head of the hamster looking down at the camera. That one always makes me laugh.
Sticking with the theme of today, honestly, my favorite, hands down, no joke, no lie, it has to go to Kerr. That little dude. Yeah, he's so tiny on that screen. Just awesome. Little derpy man. I absolutely love it.
And to wrap the Q&A real quick, since it's so topical, Bumpy Boy asked, will there be a wingsuiting competition in TFG 2021?
Well, I guess you're just going to have to subscribe, wait for notifications to find out yourself.
Yeah, a little birdie told me maybe we will have our season schedule coming out during the TFG Invitational in mid-January, so stick around.
Ooh, I'm so excited. This is going to be great. Well, that does it for episode 48. You guys know the whole spiel. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We only have 2 more weeks to go, and then we will be transitioning into a new podcast to get us up to the Riders Report, which will debut a little bit closer to the release of Riders Republic on February 25th. 2021.
Yeah, so make sure you subscribe to all of our channels around the internet. Of course, do it here on YouTube because we have content for Steep and Riders Republic coming out multiple times a week. We also started on Twitch, streaming more often, so I'm working on getting my final 100% completion in Steep.
Yeah, I think I'm going to start getting back into Trackmania Turbo.
We also play some other random games. Nick and I got into some crazy fun in Rocket League this weekend. Of course, we have an Instagram where we share some photos, advertisements about our events, and we do have a Twitter that sometimes is used. I don't want to remember all of our handles, so the links to all of those places are down below.
Be sure to click all those links and figure out what they do one by one. Thank you guys so much again for joining us for episode 48. 49, same place, same time. We'll see yins next week. I'm Nick.
And I'm Mitch.
And we'll see yins on the slopes.